Got a question? Ask Tom on HomeShow Radio.
This is HomeShow Radio live on Facebook and YouTube. Your questions, Tom's answers. Now here's Tom Tynan and Charlie Mosier.
And here we are. You can see him there and me there and houses going on and all kinds of construction stuff. And there I am now, real time. That's right, because we answer your questions here all over the place, actually. Home Show Radio on Sports Radio 610 in Houston, Texas on Saturdays and Sundays. Of course, here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and then Early Edition and podcast and Spotify. And most importantly, we have a nucleus. It is homeshowradio.com. And Charlie Mosier is somewhere to be found. Hello, Charlie.
Hey, Tom. Yeah, you've been only...
I thought you slipped away.
You're on the verge of figuring this out. You've only been doing it for, 34 years? And
Not this. No, radio, yes.
Right.
Not YouTube Live, no, unless I invented it.
I don't think we ever were ever real specific when we come on to the show telling people that Tom's got a degree in architecture, is a home builder, he's been around, he knows that's how he knows what he's doing, and he's been on the radio in the Houston area and around Texas over the past 34 years, and he's online here to help you, and it's part of what we do to help make your home a better, safer, more affordable place.
And one of the big advantages I have that a lot of guys in the business don't, Charlie, is I also have another career where I start apprenticeship programs and training programs for colleges. So it allows me to be with electricians all the time and plumbers and HVAC techs, and we're always working curriculum, and I'm an NCCER person, and so we're always getting into training. And so I'm able to suck it all in, and people say, how do you know so much about everything? It's because I'm surrounded by some really talented people.
Present company accepted. So,
including Charlie Mosier.
Right. And of course, you can participate in this live fun fest as well. If you've got questions where Tom's got answers, and if he doesn't, he'll make one up. And you can do that just by putting your questions right there in the comment section while we're live here on Facebook, and we're on our YouTube channel. We're here to help you out and do the voodoo that Tom does so well. So let's get right to it. Let's get some of those questions, Tom. First question we have for you comes from Alfred in Rosenberg. He says, I have a house 2 years old now, and it's lifted off its the ground, and my question is, how do I keep the heat in when it's cold so my heater doesn't... He says my heater comes on more than it should. It's a 2,720 square foot house, and I have 2 3-ton units. And does that mean I need more insulation in the attic? I just put bats in there, and it's only one layer. Should I put more in? Will that help?
First off, when you get into tonnage, that's usually for air conditioning. When you get into heating, it's a little different. So a good example, here in the Houston area, we design for air conditioning, so we design for tonnage. So we usually have a lot more heat than we ever could use. So if you live in an area that's very cold, then of course what you have to do is design for your extreme, or the time of year that's most important. That would be a heating season in some people's cases, so they have to design for that. And then you get into BTUs. But the bottom line is part of the question was, it runs more than it should. Depending on the year, how do you know it runs more than it should? If it's keeping the temperature where it is, and you've had your checkups, and you know that everything is working properly, then it's probably running to keep up with the demands from what's happening in the environment of that season. And as we know, some winters are colder than others. Some summers are hotter than others. They always feel the same, but they are. And so I don't know how to assess it except make sure the system's running right. Talk to your local contractor who's doing that. Make sure the size is right. I don't think it's a size issue. That doesn't make it run more. If it's reaching the temperature you want it to reach, then it's not going to run for a minute. It's going to run for a while. The only other thing that could be happening if the thermostat needs to be upgraded. Now, here could be one issue that sometimes you can have some control over, and that is some of the older thermostats wait 2 or 3 or 4 degrees even before they kick on and start to catch back up. Newer thermostats today, and some of them are even, the Nest and thermostats like that, they're so tight to the temperature that they will seem to come on more, but it actually uses less electricity because they only have to catch up a half a degree as opposed to 2 or 3. And depending on the home, that really helps you with your bills. Now, they seem like they're coming on more, but they're coming on more often. They're not running as long, and they're not costing as much to keep the house where you want it. So there is a difference.
All right. Yeah, we had a challenge here where our nests wouldn't work, and I was told that they don't work in zone systems. But then I talked to another technician who says, you got to know how to hook them up. There's a trick to it. So if it is the thermostat, Tom, it could be a matter of having to find a different tech or get another question. Maybe call out one of our HomeShow pros, or in this case, Absolute Comfort Air, and have them send somebody down there to check the system out and make sure it is hooked up correctly. And
that's right. So Absolute Comfort Air, if you're in the Houston area, is the way to go. And with heating systems in Houston, it's always seemed, we've had a cold winter, it's going to seem to run a lot more than it should. But there's no doubt about it. And Charlie, you had mentioned a while back that they couldn't run on zone systems. I actually received some feedback from that show we did. And they're saying, Tom, they really can, but it's a different way to hook them up.
Right.
We never have gotten into it, but now's a good time to do it. So a lot has to do with the quality of the technicians. A lot of technicians, and I've run air conditioning training programs just for the beginners, and they have to learn as they move on into the field. But a lot of them never get past just the fact that they install the equipment and then they move on to some other stuff. So there is a level of learning that a lot of the AC techs will learn more and more and more about the systems. And so it depends on the level of experience you get when the technician comes out.
As a matter of fact, I have an example. Yes. I saw a video this week, and I thought, we talk all the time about our HomeShow pros and how they're qualified they are. Then I saw this video of someone bringing a condenser up, and this looks like they were going to put it up on the roof of the building. And there are places where they do that, like in Arizona, they put the condenser up on the roof.
They do, yes. Yeah. California, there's a lot of areas.
Yeah, maybe in Mexico or something. They put it up on the roof for various reasons, right? So I caught a video of these professionals installing one, Tom. I know you're going to enjoy watching this as they lift this thing up.
Oh, you were prepared for this one, huh?
Yes, check this one out. There's these are people who really know their stuff. Yeah. So clearly, these are not people. Let me see, where are they? Here we go. They
would not, like one of the Facebook people.
You would not find these people here on our list of HomeShow pros. You'll find them there at HomeShowRadio.com. Any one of them, including Absolute Comfort Air. And if you don't know the company in particular, you can search by category too. We've got all that waiting for you at HomeShowRadio.com.
If you look at that picture closely, you'll see the non-safety way they're doing it, the way they're standing on ladders, the way they're
I like
he's on the neighbor's handrail, yes. And
you
know what? This is a perfect example of someone who's trying to save a buck, has a friend that might have another friend, and for a few dollars, if you get the system up in place, they'll come and hook it up for you or something like that. Be very careful, because think about it, if somebody gets hurt, then it goes from funny and just, DA kind of thing to, wow, that's not good for me, the insurance company, the people, the families. Safety's got to be really important.
Sure thing. Exactly.
And we should learn that.
Yeah. And I can't tell you how many times I've people have said, who you recommend? Well, here's our HomeShow pro. And then later I'll run into them and say, how'd that go? Well, I got my buddy to do it, and he had me hold his beer while he hooked it up. I'm like,
yeah, the beer's no good. Don't do that.
No, not so good. Yes. Next question comes from Shirley in Spring. She says, which should I do first? Should I replace my flooring or paint the interior? I've got an idea on this one because I think we've talked about this before. She wants to do both, Tom, but she's not sure which to do first.
And it's easy. And the thing you do is any kind of work you get done before the flooring goes in is the way to go. In this case, the painters, let them come in. If there's some sheetrock repair they have to do, if they're going to be doing a little bit of molding replacement, whatever the case may be, replacing a door, some of you might be putting in cabinets, you're doing all these different projects, the floor always goes last. Even when building a new home, one of the last things you do is have them come out and put the finished floor in. And then you might have some people come out and do a little touch up here or there. Somebody nicked a wall, that's fine. But always let all the crews come through, everything done, all the ladders, the step stools, all that stuff is out before they come in and start doing the floor, because the floor you want it to be brand new and you want it to be yours. And a damaged floor, then whose fault is it? Who's going to fix it? When you fix some of the new floors today, they don't match right. You want to make sure that's the last thing done. And then when they come in, if they need a step stool or something, they can bring in and just protect that little area a lot better.
We are in fact, we are on the verge of having that done at our house this year. We're going to be doing we're getting the floors changed out. Sandy's getting rid of those wood floors she hates. And she's in such a hurry to do it, she wanted to do it. And the remodeler said, might want to wait till the bathroom's done. Just saying.
Yeah, people are coming in and out. You're not even, when that floor goes in, you don't even want your dogs around it. Nothing.
No.
The pets. Charlie has to come in the back door. Nobody comes in the front door. Police tape is pushed all around like there's been a murder. And then the floor stays nice. Yeah, okay, fine.
And then these guys come over.
And then these guys show up.
And
Can we use your handrail for a ladder?
Right. Exactly. All right. Next question comes to us from Dan in Willis. He says, I live in a new house. It's 6 years old. He says, unfortunately, it's all electric, and my electricity bill goes up almost double in the winter. And the electric company, Tom, tells him that's because the heaters are using because the heaters are much less energy efficient, he says, than the AC. Is that true? Aside from not running the heater, what else can he do to trim his electric bill?
Anytime you get an all-electric home that has electric heat, it is going to be a real energy hog. There's no doubt about it, because think about it, there are heating elements that are heating up, like on your stovetop, and you have an old electric heat stove, and it's going to get bright red and the air is going to blow across it. And one of the things you have to be careful about strip heat is you need to have regular checkups. They need to make sure that the heaters, and this has happened before, that those heating strips aren't energized all the time. Sometimes, even during the summer, people wonder why their air conditioning bill is so outrageous. They'll find that the heating element is on when the air conditioner's running and blowing cold air over the hot air, and it's trying to keep up, and everybody's uncomfortable. So, number one is always get a full checkup on it. But secondly, it's good if it's a cold winter and you have electric heat, it's going to cost you. Now, you can go around your home and try to evaluate the phantom loads, because a lot of people keep buying things, plugging them in, and don't realize that all these things are constantly using electricity if you're really concerned about bringing your energy bill down. And that is unplugging all the electronic clocks you have, anything that has a remote control, turning off your strip to your computers and stuff when you're not using it. This sounds great, but most people aren't going to do it. But that really does add up to quite a bit of energy usage in a lot of homes today. People don't realize it can be 30%. And so if you do that, that's one step. The other step is get a radiant heater, a portable radiant heater, and only heat the room you're in. That's going to use a lot less electricity. It's a radiant heat, not a strip heat. And so it'll be very comfortable, but to do the whole house, you'd have to buy one for almost every room. So just take it from room to room, or the couple of rooms you use, like your bedroom and your living room, and maybe in the kitchen, moving around a little bit, if you open concept or closed areas. So that's what you can do to save on your energy bill there. And sweaters and slippers help too, but I know nobody wants to hear that. Right?
Yeah. Oh, no.
My grandfather used to wear a sweater in Miami. I mean, he was from up north. People, they wear clothes in their house. That's true. Down here, maybe not so much.
Well, I just noticed. I'm like, I'm not fully dressed here. I didn't button my collar down. How?
See, now he got his clothes on his mind. Yeah.
Not even properly dressed for the show. I'm telling you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's because right before this, Tom and I recorded the Sunday show for reasons we'll explain later. But I didn't really dress fully for the radio.
I never
Tom wasn't either. He wasn't wearing a shirt.
Yeah, I didn't have my bathrobe on. Okay, fine.
And it's funny you say that, because since Sandy and I have become empty nesters, I go out and make the coffee in the morning, and sometimes I'll even put on my bathrobe.
I totally know what you're talking about.
Right. Next question comes from Rick. He's over here in the energy quarter, which is about where I'm sitting right here. Tom's miles away, down in Brownsville. But Rick writes, I have an exterior light over my garage door. And when I turn the light on, it's very dim. I replaced the light canister, the actual fixture, Tom, and it did not help. The light switch inside is a dual light switch with a garage light and an inside light, and the inside light works fine. I wonder when he says a dual switch, it means two switches side by side, right?
I have a feeling it is because they're
That's what
not
he
running
means.
the same one. Yeah.
Right, exactly. He says that. So anyway, the inside one is good, the outside one not so good. What do you think this could be?
Well, your first impression is always look at the light bulb. Try 3 or 4 different types of light bulbs, making sure that's not it. Changing a light fixture and putting the same bulb back in it doesn't make a lot of difference. So, and usually by the time they write us, Charlie, they probably already did that. So I'm just going to throw it out there for other people.
Well, you're saying we weren't quick enough getting back to him? You know?
No, I'm
Hang on a
sure he
second.
did.
Hey, Letha, can you refund his money? Okay, we're going to send him his
fine.
money back.
As far as a voltage drop going, and if he's got some issue with the switch, the voltage drop, cross neutrals, something of that nature, that's when it gets to be more than, I mean, if you have a voltage meter, if you want to check it, you should be getting 120 volts through there or close to it. And if that's the case, then it's going to be the light canister, which you just replaced, or the light bulb. It can't be anything else. So if you don't know how to check that, it's time for an electrician to come out and give it a check and make sure you don't have a voltage drop or it's not feeding off or heading off somewhere. Pretty rare, but I guess it could happen. And so you have to make sure that you're getting the full current.
And I think I've told you this before, but at the risk of boring you, I was at a friend's house recently, and he had those LED bulbs that he's had them in there for 2 or 3 years, right, in his kitchen. And for some reason, he had to change one out. And he put a new one in, same company, same temperature, same wattage. He put it in, it was brighter than the other ones.
Which I don't know. And you know, they're fairly new as far as they're developing them faster to replace all the different ones. You don't even see a compact fluorescent sold for good reason, I'm glad. Yeah. But those things are gone, and so they had to replace all the different light bulbs. If that's the case, we're back to my original suggestion that you try a different or a new light bulb. And I think that might be, and that very well could be. What the problem is, he says, well, the light bulb still works, so let me just put it back into the light. And you can keep doing that, and it's like banging your head against the wall and wonder why you have a headache. You need to just change the light bulb with a different one to at least try it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything, right? What is it? You keep doing the same thing and expect a different result, and then there's something that's not right there? Yes.
I go back to these guys.
Okay. That's fine, Charlie. Next, we need a Bernie one. The guy Bernie needs to be sitting on the ladder with him.
You know,
with his big mittens.
I thought about doing that, but you
Yes.
know what? They threw a guy in prison this week for doing memes, and I like my freedom, so I'm not.
Oh, really?
doing
Okay.
this, yeah.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's the best thing that ever could have happened to him. I think it's funny. It's wonderful.
All right. Let's go.
People need to learn to laugh at themselves. Okay.
We have yet another question that Tom, the request for your knowledge knows no end. And by the way,
Yes.
if you want to see if you want more of what Tom does, tell him where to find you on the radio here on the weekend while we're at this here.
Well, first off, you can always go to homeshowradio.com and hit the listen button, and you can listen to the show anywhere in the whole wide world. Secondly, if you want to get it live, it's on Sports Radio 610, 9 to noon on Saturday and 8 to 11 on Sunday in the Houston area. And that is Sports Radio 610. And I wouldn't doubt you can get it live podcasted. And Charlie, you can confirm that with me because I don't listen. I talk, but I know my wife listens to it on the podcast, I do believe, on her computer when she's working.
You know, Zach gets a lot done around here with all this technology you see. We're just a couple old guys who they teach which buttons to press. But he is actually working on some exciting news about the podcast, and we'll talk more about that in the weeks to come.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
you know why my wife listens to it?
He wasn't doing enough,
she can
so I
critique
hired
me.
him an assistant. I hired him a second,
Name's
and now
Zach.
they're doing twice as much. I was like, okay, I got to chase after these guys. No, but seriously, that's come up. And by the way, Tom did mention that on Saturday mornings from 7 to 9 here in the Houston metropolitan area, and anywhere within the reach of the interwebs, you can hear Home Show Garden Pros from 7 to 9 on Saturday mornings. That's Danny Milliken hosts some of the smartest, wicked smattest people in the garden business here in Houston, all independent Houston garden center owners. And this week he'll be joined by Michael from Warren's Southern Gardens. That's going to be this Saturday morning for the whole 2 hours. So
Good.
That's the deal. All right.
He's great.
Got one more question, then I got a personal note. But let's get to this
Okay.
first. This comes from Don in Durham, North Carolina. He says, I bought an 80s two-story brick house here a year and a half ago with some Crawlspace mold mitigation. So they cleaned it out before he got there. Unfaced insulation under the floor was not pretty. They removed and replaced it along with a 6 mil vapor barrier. The insulation does nothing because the floors are still cold during the winter. I'm worried about moisture is going to cause problems with the wood and the insulation. How do I keep the vented Crawlspace in good shape and avoid mold and rot, Tom?
Well, it's a big mistake if they put the vapor barrier on the underside of the floor joists and just laid the insulation on top of it. It's not going to do a whole lot, and it's going to do more harm than good because now all the moisture is going to be trapped, especially if it gets warm. And that's what he's concerned about right now. It's too cold. He wants it nice and a warm floor, which means that cavity is going to get real warm. If it gets warm, what happens with warm air? It holds more water than cold air, and it's going to hit that plastic that's going to be cold because it's on the bottom side, and it's going to do what our lovely beer cans and Coke cans and glasses full of ice when the summertime, when you're out by the pool or walking around outside, it's going to sweat. So I think that plastic needs to come home. I come down. I think it's a big mistake to put it there. Vapor barriers are misused all the time. They go against the inside of the skin of your wall. And that means in most cases it would be sheetrock. And it keeps the warm air and the moisture in it from migrating through the wall and getting to the outside where it'll finally find a place to freeze. And then you get all kinds of bad things happening in a wall. And that's how vapor barriers are used in very cold climates. In most climates, they're misused and they shouldn't be used at all. So what I would tell you is probably get rid of the plastic to make sure you don't get any rot, and make sure the insulation is up against the bottom of the floor, because the floor is not going to warm itself. You've got to heat it on the inside. And when you heat it, it should be comfortable to you, but it shouldn't be losing heat throughout. So people think insulation warms and cools. It doesn't. Your heater's going to do that. Your air conditioner's going to do that. The insulation just keeps it from leaving quickly.
I remember did you remember the old McDLT?
Okay.
Do you remember that? McDonald's?
I don't
The
know what that is.
McDLT?
What?
You don't remember that?
No. I don't eat at McDonald's.
I think it was
It
back
is McDonald's,
in,
right?
Was it the 70s? I think it was the 70s.
I thought it was a BLT. No, I
No,
don't
the
know. I know what a
McDLT.
BLT.
No,
I
with the
don't know.
well,
I don't
the,
eat that crap.
You did.
I haven't eaten at McDonald's
you
in
did
30
back then.
years.
Well, okay, back then that's when they had this thing. All right.
Okay.
So, but the McDLT, I'm trying to support your point here, brother. Stay with me.
Go ahead. No,
All right.
you asked me and I don't know what it is.
I'm clear on that. I think everybody gets that. So anyway, so a McDLT is they had this thing where they had this container and they had the burger on this side and all the lettuce and stuff on this side. It's like the hot stays hot and the cold stays cold, and as in the styrofoam insulated container that it came in. To your point, it doesn't know hot or cold. It just stops it from going from one place to another.
That is true. Heat is energy. It's going to move. It's going to move to where it wants to go. It's very hard to control.
Yeah. So as
I'm
far
not sure
as
about the
cold
hamburger thing, but okay.
I'm just saying,
Yes.
it's
Separate.
making
Yes,
the point.
separate
It's- Yeah. You ever read any of those allegories in the Bible? I mean, some of those are kind of distant too. So I'm just saying.
Okay. I can recite Charge of the Light Brigade if you want.
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay,
But-
I don't know.
I know why that comes to mind, because
Right.
you're serving the Texas State Guard, and we appreciate
I
your
do.
service in doing that. We
Thank you.
I am tomorrow night going to get on an airplane and go to the peaceful confines of Portland, Oregon.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
well,
where we
yeah.
need to be.
Yeah, we're going up there for a very important reason. My stepson Grant. This is Sandy's already up there with him. They sent me this picture. Grant has had a lifetime ambition of being a Navy SEAL, and he is about to realize the first step of that journey. He got his contract with them. I forget what they call it, specialty war or something. Or it's what leads to being a SEAL, and he's going to be inducted into the Navy Sunday night. Monday morning, I'll be scooping up Sandy and carrying her home. But we're going up there to drop him off, and I just want to tell the whole world how proud I am that he's doing this. It's a big step, and there aren't enough people in the world doing it, and we give him kudos for doing that.
That's awesome, Charlie. Congratulations.
All right, so listen to Tom this week. That's what we got for you today. It's a little bit of a short show. We didn't get a lot of questions, and that happens. And if you were sending questions, we're not getting it. I'm sorry. We've had some technical issues. You can't imagine that we've overcome, and we're still overcoming. And just when we fix it, somebody around here gets the lame brain idea. Let's get some more technology in, and we screw it up again. But we appreciate you being here. We're going to have some guests return to the show. We used to have guests. We're going to bring them back again now that we're through the holidays, and we'll be having some guests in the next couple weeks. And then we'll have a new video next week to share with you from Trifection. And then, of course, you can catch Tom on the radio this weekend.
You bet. 9 to noon on Saturday, 8 to 11 on Sunday. And, of course, we have Danny, the garden expert, as it flashes in front of me before my eyes. Danny does a great job with all his guests, and they will make your house a greener place in a little bit different way than what some of us are hearing about in the news. It is going to be growing green.
In a good way. And of course, if you want to get your questions on, just go here, visit HomeShowRadio.com, click on that Ask Tom button on the home page, and you can send us a form, you can send us pictures, you can send us video you want. We post a new Ask Tom video every day at HomeShowRadio.com, and of course, on our Facebook and YouTube page. If you go to our YouTube page, you want to help us out with something, if you go to YouTube and you're watching one of our videos, go ahead and click on the thumbs up button. I'll tell you why. It helps our videos score better and rank better, and helps more people find them. And so you'll be helping everybody if you'll do that at YouTube. So that'll do it for this week. Tom, we'll be back again next Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Charlie, when you salute them, keep your fingers together. Right at the corner of the eye.
This is the only one I know. It's, the Boy Scout.
Okay, well, that's one finger short, but okay.
That's right.
We're good.
Well, no, I appreciate that, and I will. I'll give him a salute. You got to salute everybody who does something like that. All right, we will be back again next Thursday, 4 o'clock. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you there.
Got a question? Ask Tom on Home Show